Hi, welcome to OWAD today. I'm Sophia, pilot into the universe of Chinese. We are going to continue our exploration in unpacking one Chinese character a day. It's different from the regular programming that we talked about the Chinese set phrases to give you a more wholesome picture about some time-honored expressions rather than just one single Chinese character. But this summer, because it's summer, let's make it light. So I decided to go with the single character. It's a lot of fun. It made it shorter and more focused on just one character each episode. Today we are going to unpack 苦 bitter. So 苦, as you can see, it's related to plant. The top portion literally came from this herb character, but eventually, because this is too much to draw, a lot of Chinese characters that are involved with plant icons in it just have this two kind of a cup or trident shape of the things on top of the character, and that it means something related to plant. So we have plant, and then the bottom is the sound maker. It sounds like a gu instead of a ku, right? It's the sound maker, but the meaning blend in as well. The meaning of it is ancient. It's made up of two other smaller characters, and not smaller, but we can cut it, divide it further. The top portion that looks like a cross, that means number 10 in Chinese. Again, there's nothing, no crucifixion concept in China when the language was invented. So number 10 simply was the ancient rope record keeping methodology that once it hit number 10, a knot is tightened on the rope. So it's kind of a permanent. If you unrope it, if you unknot it, you're going to see the traces of that, right? So it's kind of a permanent record keeping by tying a knot on a rope. So the knot is too like invisible, right? So this vertical line is the rope. And then because the knot is not as visible, so to make it obvious, simply one horizontal line intersect with that to make it obvious. So that's our number 10. And the bottom is a box with two up to the corner. It looks like a smiley face. And it's the Chinese character for mouth. And the mouth represent either population or the act of speaking. Both are reasonable, right? Because Chinese use mouth as a head count. So we don't have head count, we mouth count of population. So when we pair the 10 with mouth, we can explain it either as 10 generations of people, which roughly translated to 200 years or 250 years, that kind of give the ancient definition, because for the past, probably contemporary as well, like if we look 250 years ago, that's pretty ancient from today, right? So probably in ancient times, even ancienter than our current time, for them, 10 generations ago was regarded as ancient enough. And of course, there are further classifications of how ancient it is. And then we have like a further ancient, middle ancient, kind of like a, our own history retro looking, how far away it is from now. So ancient in general just means at least 10 generations ago. And the second way to see it is some information or knowledge or wisdom passed down through 10 mouths. Again, it's 10 generations of people. So a lot of information knowledge instead of like stored online or before publication or book form, right? It's a verbal communication from generation to generation in folklore or storytelling, right? So this mouth represents speaking. So if 10 mouths ever talked about it, like a 10 generations of mouths ever passed down that information to you, that means this is kind of critical information. It's verified, accepted, verified, used by generations before you. So that's some time honored information for you. So we regard that as ancient. Chinese do have the tradition of value a lot, whatever the ancient knowledge passed down to us. So I guess this 10 miles kind of give it this almost like time certified information that you better trust rather than explore many mistakes. It's already generations before you summarize it for you. But again, because it's a society not changed too much, right? Generation to generation is agriculture. Society is the same kind of a technology. Compared with today, our time, it's a lot more different. Like my way of thinking versus my parents and their parents, like each generation, this gapping is increasing versus in the past, the old time honored traditions or wisdom still may be relevant to today, right? So again, ancient and herb combined together, that's the taste of bitter. The reason why is because, okay, we have Chinese traditional medicine, I guess throughout the globe, a lot of traditional societies before the contemporary pharmaceutical companies, through lab experiments, decide on which combination is the right, ratio of something, come up with the ingredients to treat you. In ancient societies, it's through trials and errors and data collection that way, through actual use and practice of that, and probably a lot of anecdotal, and somebody compile it and become kind of a time-honored methodology. And so this bitter was used to describe the taste of ancient herb, because a lot of Chinese medicine tastes bitter, and because the medicine for it to be used, they are dried up and they're considered ancient. It probably requires the time to treat it by, I don't know, oxidization. Is there such a word? Like oxidize it. So in any case, bitter means is the combination of ancient plus herb. And then you can see when I translate it into English, we have so different, besides the bitterness, the taste, it can be used as painful, as miserable. So that taste-based suffering transfer to other types of suffering. It doesn't have to be taste bad. But I guess in English as well, right? When we say bittersweet, for example, this bitterness also carries the meaning of not only it tastes bad, but it inflicts a certain suffering or pain to individuals. So that's why this bitter can be used as both the taste and also in general type of suffering. And you can see Chinese, we use the same character for all kinds of functions in language. It can be a noun, adjective, or verb, or adverbs even, and it can be paired with other kind of characters to make the meaning applied to the context even, be more appropriate or specified for a certain context. But the character itself, it doesn't need to change in any shape, form, or even pronunciation. So it's just bitter, ku throughout. So we have ku here simply means bitter, and tong ku, again, this emphasize on emotional pain. And then we have similar, like miserable, we have a ton of miserable characters. And then ku, this can be a noun, and ku nan means suffering, the act or the event of making people suffer, right? And then we have ku wei, that's emphasized on taste, bitterness, and xin ku means hardship. It doesn't mean emotional suffering. It could mean physical, financial suffering. It's just tough time. And then we have shou ku, means you're enduring that bitterness, that suffer. Yeah, so that's it. That's our ku. Catching into the current tip thinking by one word a day with Sophie. See you another day.